The time of face-to-face classes did give us the opportunity to be able to focus on point our studies with full focus most of the time due to the respect or frightened to the teachers, professors in front of us. Or we are just certainly and willing to learn for us to use in the future circumstances, or any reason other than that. But the issue is most of us, the time we are trained, or rather we ingrained to our brain, that we should always pass our requirements on time, with a marginal rate of not more than 2 or 3 days maximum. Back then, unless you do have proper and valid excuse as to why you didn't pass it. We also pass it by any chance if it is late, not finished, or even half-baked answers due to unpreparedness. All of that changed when the pandemic hit us. This pushed us to the age of distant learning, online lectures, and modular methods for us to cope with the requirements. These led us to adapt to the new normal and that we are not used and being at home. There will always have certain situations in our homes that we need to deal with whilst learning still in our houses. To begin with, the following are one of the main reasons why we are always late or even miss our right time opportunities to send outputs/projects on time. Firstly, and most importantly, due to the pandemic, we are forced to stay in our homes for the last 2 years. Hence, we are experiencing different data signal strengths, especially for those who are in the farther parts of our city and the provinces, which doesn't have many towers as much as we do here in the city. Also, there will always be weather interference that will heavily affect the signal quality that we have. And on the other hand, the data quality that we have are not limited by a single SIM for every one of us, which is also a part of the delays that we have, and all we don't have the same SIM. Next, speaking of weather interference, we also have the infamous power interruptions. This is quite self explanatory. But most of the time, in the most random occurrences, there will always be the timing of being able to send before the deadline. Yet, you can't send due to the power outage. Depending on the location, this could occur in certain places with rotational upgrading or maintenance of the electrical components, hence the reasonable blackout. But we also have the unreasonable part. Sometimes we are surprised by the reasons why we have power outage. This could due to man-made accidents, animal accidents, or weather accidents. Why would be why would this be unreasonable, you say? Because it will always have a long period of time to fix. Unlike rotational maintenances where they will always have certain time period for it. Last but not the least, we have personal situations. These are the kinds of situations where the student will have different situations to handle before even touching the module itself, such as household work/errands, family businesses, self-sustaining jobs are one of those in this category because this is they need to do since the first of them are breadwinners, mostly elders, and also they are alone on their houses or board houses. Mentally, this online learning is quite challenging for every day. So this also is a thing needed to be considered since 2 years isn't going to replace the last few decades that we are used to. Pupils and students such as me can never fully avoid the mental block, creativity block before on face to face. Especially in today's way of learning, the distractions are quite challenging. To summarize everything we have discussed so far is that in this new era of learning, we are currently facing is quite more challenging than back then, especially when it comes to traditions and etiquette for passing the requirements we need to do before the deadline hits. Yet we have different reasons why we must understand that not everyone has the same predicament and leisure to pass on time. This is the following reasons. the difference of data signals for every location due to the pandemic, power interruptions that will always have that bad timing, and finally, the personal situations that the pupils and students tackle for everyday life. As a result, we must be slightly understanding and more patient with those students that we know who are really trying their best, but unfortunately, some predicament happens and they would pass their output slash projects later than the deadline. We can never tell that every day would be different and that passes hold for us and to the pupils and students, and by a simple word due to the stress that we can't control too, one word would result to a disaster to a child's life. Thank you and have a nice day.